banner background with all the people, and it says the meeting will start soon, and then it has the normal ticker at the bottom. I'm hoping people will jump in with the live, because it takes a few minutes for people to get the notification. Man, TikTok last night, I was live for like nearly 3 hours. It took 2.5 hours for people to get the live notification.
Ooh,
Like,
that
people
that does
jumped
sound
in and they were
reliable.
like, I was like, oh, cool, thanks for jumping in. They're like, yeah, you just got notified you went live. And I was like, 2.5 hours ago. Cool. Good to know.
Yeah, I was just kind of like to give you a heads up on what ideas I came across.
Yeah.
Uh, Possibly reaching out to AL.com for an article because they have uh, a pretty broad reach, and um, uh, I guess figure out what live events uh, you could attend that are very public or kind of big.
Right.
Um, but obviously, that might be harder since you have a family member with COVID right now.
Yeah, well, quarantine should be up on Monday,
Okay.
so we should be good. Uh, oh my gosh, that didn't. Dang it. That is outside the. There we go. Gotta re-download the background. It's off screen because of the cropping. Dang it. There we go. Let's re-download that. Yeah. So the hard part, and actually, we'll do this live once we're there. Um,
Do you need any help right now?
no, it was me doing the background
Oh, okay.
for TikTok. I'm hoping we'll see if people will jump in there. I don't know. That hopefully is the right one. It is. Okay, cool. All right, so if we go live here, headset on. All right, so if we do square, come on, TikTok. There we go. There we go. All right. TikTok, we're going to go live on other platforms shortly. So if you're here, come hang out. We're having a strategy meeting. You won't be able to see what I'm sharing if I share a screen. You should be able to hear everyone else in the meeting, but you won't be able to see their faces if they share their camera. So if you want to see the rest, go there. If not, come hang out on TikTok. It's fun. All right. So we are going to do our 30-second alien countdown. Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok. My name is Jared Budlong. I'm running as an independent candidate for governor here in Alabama. And this is Saturday's 9 o'clock strategy meeting. This is a little bit different. If you've seen this video before, or this meeting rather, you've heard me say this intro, but we do things different here at this campaign. We do everything as public as possible. I believe generally government is not as transparent as I would like it to be. And my way of showing that is by having all of our meetings public when possible, including internal strategy meetings like this. So this is us talking about the campaign, talking about things that have worked, things that haven't worked, what we want to try, and just give you guys a heads up of what we're attempting to do as a campaign to reach more people. And that way everybody's on the same page. There's no question on what we're attempting to do and where we're at. And we'll go ahead and get started. I will give the caveat that there is COVID in the house right now, so my kids may interrupt us because my wife is currently unavailable. So if you see my camera go mute, or if you see me mute myself and the camera go off, I am likely interacting with my children. So, Ethan, you can take up the slack whenever that happens. I will try to be as quick as I can with them. I just want to give everybody a heads up. This will not be a normal meeting in that regard. So, strategy, I want to cover. Actually, I want to announce something because I don't think I've mentioned this since we had to correct an issue. So in transparency, like we've talked about, the way that I was filing my transportation expenses was incorrect, just so everybody's aware. So I had to file an amendment for transactions that were done for transportation. I was paying for them directly out of pocket or out of the bank account for the campaign because I was traveling, so I used the card. I missed the caveat in the filing guide that says that's only for vehicles that are owned by the campaign. If I'm using my personal vehicle, which I am supposed to be reimbursing myself for mileage at 62.5 cents per mile. I bring that up because it's going to affect some of the things we do as a campaign, because it is now more expensive for me to travel. So instead of spending, depends on the price of gas, but instead of spending $100 to go to Birmingham, it now costs the campaign $400 at least in travel expenses. That's not including food or anything else. So I want everybody to be on the same page. If we want me to travel, it is now more expensive than we thought. So we'll have to keep that in mind as we decide to go places. So I know that's going to be important for discussions like field operations and strategy today. So I want to go ahead and get that out at the top of the meeting today. Those have been corrected. I've actually chosen to only reimburse me for myself for only one trip to kind of balance out the cost, because I had to repay the campaign for all of the gas expenses, and I repaid myself for one trip at this point to try and keep that as close to the original expenses as possible. So it was actually still more, even though I only expensed one trip, but we're doing what we can. So if you want me to travel, please donate. And it's a campaign. We have to use money to do things, and it is a separate entity. So money's required to do things. So donate if you can. Amanda put, thank you. Amanda on the social media team just put a link on the Facebook page, at least, or Facebook profile. I'll put that in everywhere, just so everyone has the same link. .org/connect. If you're on Twitter, because you don't see these comments, it's jaredalgov.org/connect, and then there is a way to donate on that page. Multiple ways. All right. So strategy-wise, I want to pull up some things, and we'll review the digital strategy first, so that everybody can see kind of where we're at and what we've done in the past couple of weeks and what that looks like. So what we do is we track all of our social media and digital interactions and engagement and put that into a report, which I will run through very quickly. I don't want to spend too much time on it. Ethan, I'm going to share that to us here, and we should be able to do that through a window here. So we'll start on TikTok, because that's where the most engagement happens currently. This kind of just shows an overview of videos for the week of the 4th through the 10th. The export time for TikTok is delayed by a couple days, so we can't show anything past, I think, the 13th. So we just do the week before at this point. But the 4th through the 10th, biggest video was me explaining my concerns over the recompiling of our state constitution that will be on the ballot coming up on November 8th. There's a ballot initiative for us to use a recompiled version of the state constitution, and overall sounds great. If you want more details, go look at the video. The biggest concern is that it removes some racist language, but the intent is still full of white supremacy. There's only 2 people in the video, so I'll just go ahead and use it. And actually, is that Courtney in here? Oh, Courtney. I think I'm trying to remember the name. Yeah, Courtney. We've been having a discussion, so I appreciate the discussion back and forth. I'm still not sure where I land on it. Please go look into it and figure out what you want to do. I like 99, if I'm going to make up statistics, 99% of what's changed. My concern is whether or not it hinders our ability to fight white supremacy in the state. So this isn't the time for that discussion. Let's have it again later. And Courtney, I would love to do a live stream with you if you're willing, because you were involved in that process. So like, I would love to do a live stream with you. If you want to, there's a way to schedule a meeting, and we can do that live. We can do it private if you want to, but I think public would be a much better conversation, because we could have other people jump in for comments and discourse. So the next one after that, though, is, I believe, the one about Etowah County holding women in prison for fetal and child endangerment regarding drug changes, or drug use rather. Literally incarcerating pregnant women. They end up sleeping on the floor because there's not a bed available for them in the cell that they put them in. It's rough, but those are the ones that have engaged so far the most. And then after that is just, I'd have to actually click on the link. Let's see what video this is, since we're doing this live. Oh yeah. That was a fun parody video of, I think it's called Sippy Cup, or Syrup Sippy Cup, I think is the title of the song. So those done pretty well. Obviously the Constitution one did the most, had the best visibility, likes, comments, and shares. All of it is way up there. Some good ratios. So I think part of that is it's playing on people's emotions, right? It gets people's attention by saying, like, hey, racism's still here, and we have to keep calling that out. So let's see. Overall activity, though, I think we're still pretty high on the same days. I think the biggest change is Wednesday, for whatever reason. Last week, more people were on last week on Wednesdays than normal for the activity for our actual followers. So we'll keep an eye on that and see if there's any changes in when we want to do live streams. But I think we're overall, if we average over a longer period of time, we're still pretty close. Live streams, we had much better new follower to total view count on the 9th. I don't remember offhand what video that was, what live stream that was, so I'm going to pull it up real quick if I can spell correctly. Analytics, and let's go to the live stream page. And video details. So the 9th was, oh yeah, no, that makes sense. That's the one I got banned on live for a day. So I got to be careful how I label my videos. So we went live. I was calling out the fact that racism's still in here in our state, and TikTok did not like that. Or people watching me on TikTok didn't like it. So I ended up getting banned and got a community guidelines violation on that video. But it was a really good live stream. I think we were live for a couple hours and met some new people, had really good conversations about the state. So Twitter posts. Let's see what's doing well on my Twitter account. Engagement was low, but the overall visibility and interactions were higher for our video about Bay Minette's situation with OJ French. If nobody's familiar, OJ was unalived by the police in Bay Minette back in August, and there was a community event to rally around that and just remind people that we still don't have answers and that they're still asking for them, and to remind people to get out and vote, because there's a third of the state-ish doesn't vote at all, and they were reminding everybody, hey, if you don't vote, we can't change things. Don't forget to get registered. They had a spot to register. Anyway, but that video was focused on OJ, so that one did really well. Actual engagement, this one's tough for me. So the highest engagement ones, like, they're showing a higher engagement percentage, but the overall actual engagement is lower. So I'm not sure I want to use engagement as the Twitter's version of engagement, what they consider engagement. I don't know if I want to use that as our guide. I would much rather look at the ratio of the total views, engagement, hearts, retweets, ats, things like that, and that isn't equating to engagement according to Twitter. So I think we're going to ignore that. Ethan, go ahead.
So looking at the statistics, it's directly correlating the amount of views against the amount of engagement. So that 2.8% is because
It's because
that
of
video
these
is,
two.
yeah, those like your starting number is almost 5K,
Right.
whereas the engagement behind it isn't nearly that high,
I'm
and so it has an
curious.
overall engagement uh, percentage that's much lower.
Yeah. Oh, let's spell engagement right. Put the rest of the letters in there. I'm curious what they consider. Okay, so it's total number of times they engaged with a tweet. So that should be everything combined. So yeah, it's our 85 plus our 22 plus our 12 plus I assume our 1 for the profile view. So that it kind of makes sense.
So
Um,
the view is just someone who watched the video and then scrolled past without interacting with it.
not necessarily. So the view is how many times it was shown in front of someone. How many people saw that tweet in their feed.
Right.
But it doesn't mean they scrolled past. It just means it showed up, and we might be saying the same thing in different words.
I think we are.
Okay, all right, yeah. So and this is all tweets. It's not necessarily just videos. The next
Mm.
one actually talks about videos specifically. I think there's only a couple. Yeah, there's only two, and it's actually two videos that were posted on other platforms because we're currently doing that cross posting essentially.
Hmm.
And TikTok, I'm not trying to ignore your questions. If they're related to strategy, let's talk. I think somebody asked about my views. That's literally listed all over the website, so go check that out. Dawson, or not Dawson, I'm sorry, Gold Chevy. Dawson, good morning. And then Swaggy Panda, yes. Give me a second and we'll get back to that. So this is just our videos, and it doesn't do the engagement piece, but it does show us how many people started it, how many views they had, which I'm not sure what they're counting as views though, because this says they started it. That doesn't make any sense. Hold on. That might be how many times it was shown in front of people. Nope, it's not that one. All right, Twitter, your stats don't make sense. Oh, you know what? Maybe that's unique views. So some people may have rewatched it. That's a possibility. Or it showed up in their feed twice. That's a possibility. So 17 people out of 1,000 finished at 100%. And that's a 0.9% finish rate. I don't know what the clock is for. We're gonna jump behind. I tried to save characters by putting in uh, emojis when that made sense, but it I don't remember what that is. Oh, how many minutes viewed total? Okay, cool. That makes sense why it's a clock. So that's the total number of that should be the total number of minutes viewed. So the video length itself was 2 minutes. So if 1,000 people watched it a partial seconds, they're counting up all of the time, right? So the total number of minutes viewed, not how many not how many times it was watched totally. That's just the total count of minutes. Was 312. But this video, the other one, had a better finish rate. So like I care more about that personally. When I'm like, if I'm making a video, the point is to get it as succinct as possible and put in all the information I want people to see. So the finish rate's rather important to me. I'm glad people were watching the OJ video, but if they didn't finish it, like that's unfortunate. And I don't know what. The only thing I can think is it's not edited down. It's literally just a 2-minute clip of one of the organizers explaining where they're at, and that's something that most people aren't used to watching. Is just a straight like somebody just talking for 2 minutes. But I didn't feel good cutting out anything that he said, and there weren't a whole lot of pauses. He's good at speaking. So I'm not sure what else we could do on that. Ethan, if you want to look at it later, we don't have to do it now, but if you want to look at that video later and give any ideas on what we could do to shrink that down some without cutting out important pieces, we could easily repost it.
So I think because Twitter is not Twitter, but TikTok has essentially taken over the social media platforming for everywhere else, because you see TikToks reposted everywhere, just how social media does.
Yeah.
I think doing it as a one and done, where it's just one long 2-minute video of somebody that nobody recognizes talking, doesn't really drive up engagement. So I think hitting that topic and informing people on what's going on and where they're at. I think it'll take more short, concise videos around it, because it'll keep showing up in people's Twitter feeds. So I think being able to make being able to make smaller videos and say, hey, this is what's happening. This is do a brief summation away from that, and then say, if you want all the details, here's the link to
The full
the
video.
original. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Amanda mentioned that the video had a lot of text, and personally, I will rewatch something to be able to hold the screen and read it in its entirety. Okay, so you're talking about the parody video with Syrup Sippy Cup. Yeah, part of that's out of necessity because I was literally lip syncing a song, so I had to put a text on screen to what is the word, to match up to the thought that's being said in the song. I tried to do that as best I could. So yeah, and that's something we could do more. I put captions on all the videos on TikTok at least. I don't think those translate out to other social media platforms, which is frustrating. What we may be able to do though is put bullet points, right? So we could do bullet points on screen for what they're saying, even if it's a longer video, and try that. That might help. Although I kind of like your point is on other, even on TikTok though, we can relate back to other videos, so you can actually link back to other videos you've made. So we might do that also. That's a good call.
Another thing is, since we are getting pretty close to the end of the race, I think it'd be a really great idea to appeal, because just looking at your thumbnails from your TikToks, you have a very activist presence.
Yeah.
And I think as a gubernatorial candidate, I think it's a good time to shift into a more professional image to get out to people, because that is more appealing in a gubernatorial candidate.
That I will push back on.
Okay, absolutely.
Yeah, no, it's cool. I don't want to. Man, I don't like reinforcing professionalism, because it literally. Hold on. LB, that was what I was going to say, so thank you. I'll reiterate in a second, but I want to address Brandy. This sounds like a meeting you could not have on live. We need action here in these streets. So Brandy, we have to have a strategy meeting. We have to have this meeting, and what you didn't catch originally is I'm having these publicly so people understand where I'm coming from as a candidate and where the authenticity around what I'm trying to do. So if I'm doing something, I want you to know why I'm doing it, and that's why we have these meetings publicly. I get that it's not normal, and most campaigns don't, we're doing it differently. How can we get people registered to vote? AlabamaVotes.gov is your best bet there, or partnering with other organizations. So what I was going to say about the professionalism, that unfortunately is rooted in white supremacy, and I don't want to reinforce that in any way. So why do we consider suit and tie professional? Well, that's what rich white men used to wear, and I get that it's generally appealing, but it's also just reaffirming the thing that I'm vehemently against. So I'm not going to. I appreciate the input, and you're not the first person to suggest it, but I won't be.
Cool.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, no one needs to change themselves to fit in the oppressive system. That's what we're fighting. Yeah, 100%. So let me go back, because somebody asked about two things, and they are related, sort of. So Swaggy, I recommend campaigning in bigger cities. This state could swing blue. I'm not blue, so I'm not a Democrat, but I get your point. We could swing further left than we are currently, and I agree. I mentioned at the top of the video, so you may have missed it. We just recently found out that the way I've been filing my transportation expenses was not only incorrect, but it was less than I should have been filing. I have to reimburse myself for mileage, which means I need more donations to travel across the state more. So that's something to keep in mind. Radical Normie. That name, like, I'm gonna ignore you for now. By the way, just not the name because of the comment. It's fine. And then WKD, you asked, are you working with Free Alabama Movement for prison reform? I'm not working directly with any organization. I am definitely listening to and taking notes from lots of organizations. Free Alabama Movement, I believe, is one of those off the top of my head. I'm not going to say yes or no because I'm not 100% sure on that. But I'm listening to a ton. If they have input on how we can overturn this oppressive system that is currently in place across the country, especially in our state, I would love to hear and listen from them. If they want to join a meeting, they're welcome to. Love to have them join. So let's jump back to strategy. So video wise, we're going to try some shorter clips. Taylor, what's up? So we're going to try some shorter clips, and I'll get with Micah. Hopefully, I'll get with Micah to try and chop that up some, so that it's not me spending time, that somebody else could do it while I'm doing other things. And we'll go from there. Taylor, go ahead and get your hand up.
No, I was going to say, so sorry. Violet woke me up at 5 a.m.
Hey, it happens.
Yeah, so I overslept because I was up for...
It's all good.
Okay.
Yeah, no worries. We have a volunteer team, so if I were paying you, we would have a different discussion. It wouldn't be much different because that happens. It's life. But, show up when you can. It's all good. So the campaign account, the campaign Twitter account only had a few posts at that time, I guess, which is something we actually need to address with the team. One of our main contributors has been out of pocket. Actually, two of the main social media team members have been out of pocket, and our campaign accounts have dropped on how much they are spreading and sharing. So I need to get with everybody else that's on social media team, and we need to kind of help each other out as much as can. If everybody's out, then if everybody's sick, everybody's sick. But I don't think that's the case. Let's see. Professional in President Italy's rude voice. Yeah, okay. So I was catching up on comments. Brandy, you're in Mobile. I live in Daphne. We should, if you want to help, I would love your help. For the record. Let's jump back over. So the ones that worked well, in my opinion, again, it's not the higher engagement rate, but it is more engagement, was this post. I think it was about me being downtown. No, it was the Foley event. Okay, cool. So that was me being at the South Baldwin Democrat meeting. So that got some engagement, which is cool. So glad to see that. Twitch, Twitch is kind of just a just-in-case platform for me because you have to work at Twitch to get it to build up your following. Ethan, you got your hand up again?
Yeah, I was gonna
Let me jump back over.
Because I have a bit of limited time right now. I was gonna offer up the idea of reaching out to AL.com.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Sorry, I forgot you're going to have to dip out early. Yeah, so AL.com, we need somebody to write up that communication. So anybody on the team who is good at writing, better than I am at just writing without spending way too much time trying to write, I would love to have that written up, a way of communicating out to AL.com or any other news article or news entry. News entity. There we go. We did have one article published, which I don't think is tracked. I don't think we have a way of tracking those here. There's not really a good way to I can't think of a good way to track and what we would track if we were going to list out articles that we've been mentioned in here, because we don't have their data, so we don't have any way of tracking that. But we were mentioned on a website. I think it's Alabama News or Alabama Reports. Anyway, they reached out to me, thankfully, so we did a quick interview. They wrote up an article, and we're good to go on that. So hopefully we can reference that when talking to AL.com. And then we can reach out to other places. I also need the request / information letter email written for the college campuses and all the groups. So I think Tasha has begun work and has made a lot of progress on campaign
We have
organizations. We do have it.
Yeah, Anita and I have that.
Oh, perfect. Then we need to work with Tasha and get that list and then send it as soon as possible. That way we can get people working, because we were hoping to do that the first couple of weeks of school, and we're a month in at this point. So we need to get that sent out as soon as possible to try and get some reach to or outreach out to college campuses. So let's do that. Twitch, I'm not super worried about. Facebook, we can look at later. Amanda, if you want to look at this and do that. We'll go over the brief stuff though. This is the Facebook overall reach. Biggest city right now is Huntsville, and then from there it's Birmingham, then down to Mobile, and then some of the smaller towns. Jasper made the list. Jasper representing, appreciate it.
From Walker County.
Right. So overall, we're hitting the demographics we're looking for, at least the ones that we were intentionally trying to reach. We're hitting those groups. So 18 to 24, 25 to 34, 35 to 44, and then 45 to 54 is roughly, where we're attempting to reach people. That's who we're targeting specifically with the messaging and the engagement. So that's all working rather well, even on Facebook. And then overall, and then this one is our ballot measure. I think, yeah, so that's the one that looks like it's having the best interaction is, again, the ballot measure piece on Facebook. So that one went well there as well. So I think we're good. We could look at this. Amanda, I'll have you look at this later just to review which posts are getting higher levels of reach, reactions, comments, and shares. We'll look at that and just see if there's any commonality. And 1 week isn't a good sample size. It needs to be a little bit further out. So we'll do that on... we'll do that like the end of the month. We can look at the end of the month and just say, hey, here's what we did for this month. Here's all the stuff that worked well. Let's try to do more of that. Instagram, making sure, we're hitting roughly the same stats on Instagram. So 18 through 44 is the main people that we're reaching, which is good. That's what we're aiming to try and reach. Huntsville, Birmingham, Mobile, Daphne, and Auburn are our top cities that we're reaching at least. And then overall engagement and stuff on Instagram is on their posts at least. The other stuff is stories, I believe. Not a whole lot of engagement on these, so we need to look at maybe why that's happening. This interface isn't the best. The actual platforms give us a little bit more insight, but this is a good little overview. Ethan, go ahead.
What about the? I see you can also see engagement on your website.
Yes.
Is there a? Can we track how many visits to your website occur and what correlates to them?
Yes, not in this report, but we can build it out. Are you talking about where they're coming from?
If they're coming from your lives, are they coming from QR codes? Are they coming from
yes. So we can, and actually we've got a little bit of time, and I'll try to pull it up before you have to leave. When do you have to step out?
In about 5 minutes.
Okay, yeah, we should be able to pull it up real quick. Can you send me the point of contact information so I may pass it on to them? WKD, you're talking about our point of contact. You can send it to manager@jaredalgov.org. So if you go to the link in my bio, the email address will be manager@ and then that domain name. So you should be good there. So I don't know that I've built a report out here for that, but under acquisition, we should be able to find that information pretty quickly. So if we just say, let's say August, last month. Is last month not in here anymore? That's dumb. I used to give you that as an option. Let's just say August. All right, so predominantly it's organic search and social. Those are the top two, and then direct. And then from there are other options. If we go to... it should be medium and source, I believe. Yeah, so here's what you're looking for. So mostly Google or direct. From there, Reddit has a decent tracking, TikTok has a decent tracking, and then T Code is Twitter, I believe. And then from there, there's some QR codes. So you were asking about that earlier. These are printed QR codes, typically on flyers or business cards. Or not business cards, but business card sized pieces. And then from there, Facebook, Ballotpedia, Reddit again. And then the last one is another Facebook, because they have different subdomains, so it doesn't combine them all, which is frustrating. That's the top 10 at least. So most of it's just normal interactions. The print QR code is from me being at events and having people scan a QR code instead of handing out paper, because we're trying not to add any additional paper waste. I carry some with me in case somebody wants them, but trying to get people to just scan the code, and that way they don't have to keep track of the piece of paper or toss it because they were too they didn't want to say no thank you, which it's fine. You can tell me you don't want anything. It's funny to see people that are like too nervous to say like no, like I don't want to talk to you. I try to make it an engaging conversation. It's like, hey, can I bug you for 30 seconds? You can tell me to walk away, or you can tell me to keep talking. Don't care. Like it's okay. I know I'm bugging you because we're in the middle of art walk or whatever it is, and there's still people who are like, sure. It's like, no, I mean seriously, if you want me to walk away, it's fine. I would like to talk to you, but anyway. All right, so not a whole lot from that. That actually brings up something though. So when we reach out to the college campuses, Taylor, I don't know if it needs to be in the first email or if it needs to be in follow-up conversations, but we still want to do the pissed off QR code. So I don't know if that's in the email now or if it needs to be once they reply back. Probably needs to be reply back.
Yeah.
But we don't want to forget about that idea.
Yeah, right now it's just, hey, we wanna visit. Here's what Jared, here's his shtick.
Yeah.
Kind of check him out and see if he resonates.
Right.
So
what I found interesting, and then we'll let Ethan go, and we'll probably just end a little early and come back for field ops. What I found interesting is that in this week, Mobile was the higher search, and I think that is a combination of the event that we held, but also Art Walk. I have to assume, because they're usually Birmingham and Huntsville have a higher rate of visits, and Mobile for that week for whatever reason. And again, I think it was the event that we held and Art Walk, but Mobile definitely spiked that week, which is interesting.
How's my little town of Jasper doing?
Jasper specifically, we'd have to zoom in. Not Jasper. We got Dora though. I wonder who.
That's
Dora and Summerton.
Me. That's me, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, no, I have a few friends who live out here.
Went way too far out. Anyway,
is that Tuscaloosa over there?
Tuscaloosa is over here, I believe. Is that right? Yeah. Yeah, so we got some people from Tuscaloosa checking it out.
Okay, cool.
Yep. Yeah, and if we go back further, like this scroll wheel is super sensitive. If we go back further, the parameters change and the heat map changes a ton. So we got McKinsey, Alabama representing in TikTok. Sweet. So there were a couple last questions that were asked. Ethan, if you need to drop out, you can. I'll hang out on and answer some questions on social media platforms. Let's see if there's anything. Nick, I just answered your questions. We're good there. Pick a campus. All right. Thanks, Ethan. Pick a campus each Saturday and walk around tailgates. And then check out Invisible episode of the P Word, all about how people can be resistant to saying no. I'll have to check that out. I can't copy that from here, can I? Hey, Nick, send me that somewhere else other than the comments on the live stream. I think you can get in touch with me, so send it some other way. Tuscaloosa representing, sweet. I'm gonna go back because I think there's a question up here that I want to answer. Brandy, you said you're on set and waiting to hear go. Brandy, have you filled out the volunteer form? Like, are you wanting to do things long term, like regularly? Because we would love your help. I'll give you a second to answer that because I know you asked the question like 5 minutes ago. I'm going to close the presentation because I think we're done with that. Am I doing campaigning other than TikTok? Yes. And I think we just covered that a second ago. We go to events. We'll do canvassing periodically. We're doing as much as we can with the limited funding we have. So this will be another shameless request for donations. If you can afford without putting your yourself or your family in danger financially, if you can donate to the campaign, we'd love it. 5, 10, 100, $200, whatever you can give. Link in bio. Go to the donate option, and there are ways to donate. So that'll help us get around a bit further. And if you would like to help campaign for us, we need help across the state. Like, I can't be everywhere all at once, so please feel free to show up at your local events and campaign on our behalf, essentially, or canvas on our behalf. Hope your day's
We
productive.
have free shirt. You can, or they're free shirt designs you
Yeah.
can wear.
Yep.
I wear that shirt every single day. No lie. Every time somebody
yes.
sees me, I'm wearing the same shirt. So
Yes. Let's see. Can you send contact info? Already did that. We're good. Brandy, good idea. And then Mackenzie said, hey, cool. All right. So silly sister, appreciate you showing up. Let's see. Does anybody have any questions for me generally? I think we're gonna end the live in about 5 minutes. But if you have questions regarding strategy, something I can talk about, or if you have an idea, post it now. Otherwise, in about 5 minutes, we're gonna end this live, and we will come back in about 10 minutes after that, about 10 o'clock, and we will do a meeting about field operations. So that is the physical place-to-place visiting in person. So that was Nosferatu. I remember your name now. If you want to talk about other like in-person stuff, come back to the 10 o'clock meeting, because that'll be our field ops type stuff. Otherwise, I am just going to pull up my notes from the last meeting and make sure I didn't forget anything. Let's see.
we need to let's figure out how much, if we want to do like QR codes and something, and do the I haven't pushed for it because of the monies, but the painting the town with stickers and
we
stuff.
we have somebody who's willing to pay for those stickers. We just need the people to distribute.
Oh, okay. Well, then I will find people to distribute.
We are literally just waiting on people to distribute. So
Okay. Okay. I'm so sorry. I thought. All right.
nope. Yeah, that's why we were trying to reach out, because we have somebody who's willing to pay for them. So the idea, if you weren't here for the other meeting, we have an idea for actually we already have the sticker design. We're waiting to print them. As soon as we know we have people to distribute. The idea, Jessica, sweet. Please send an email to manager@jaredalgov.org and say QR code distribution. So the idea is we want people in major areas of the state. If you're in a smaller area and you want to distribute there, that's cool. We just know that most people that are hearing us are from larger cities. The idea is to have some QR code stickers that are about 3 or 4 inches tall, square, and have everybody in various cities put those up in places that they are allowed to on a specific weekend. So it would be a planned event where across the state some stickers go up that have a QR code, and it just says, are you pissed? Like, scan me, something like that. I can't remember the exact design because I didn't look at it before we went live. But the idea is to have a bunch of those spread out throughout the city, all on one weekend, and to get some attention. And when they scan it, they go to a specific page on the website that explains, like, hey, we're pissed too, that's why we're running. Here's what we're fighting for. Here's what you can do to get involved. If you can donate, if you want to volunteer, so on and so forth. But it's just another way of getting the campaign in front of more people and showing them that we're trying to do things differently in Alabama. Nosferatu signs, you can do that through the link in my bio as well. That is done through the Get Canvassing supplies. So we consider that canvassing at this point, and those come in batches of 16. So if you have the funds to purchase a whole batch yourself, it's $160. They're $10 a sign, essentially. Transparency, it costs us $126. So the campaign doesn't make a ton of money off of those. It is literally meant to get the word out. So we add a little bit so that we can put some money towards other things, like stickers or a little bit of transportations that it's now going to take. If you can't afford a whole batch, fully understand that as well. What we've been telling people to do, which other people have done, is get a group of 16 people total, and each person contribute $10. One person order the batch and then distribute amongst yourselves. And that way you're not all spending a ton of money, but you can still get signs. So that is an idea. There's actually a Facebook post on the campaign page where we were trying to build that list of like-minded people who needed signs but couldn't afford or didn't want to pay for a whole batch outright. So check out the Facebook page for that post. It was made at least a couple weeks ago, but you can go find it and then look for the city that's closest to you and then comment on somebody else's post. So if you're in Huntsville, I think we just got some in that area to somebody else. So if you want some in Huntsville, let me know. Reach out through the website and let us know, because I think we have some available. All right, it is 9:50. I'm going to end the live stream here and come back in about 10 minutes for field ops. That's more in-person stuff, and we will see you then. Oh, and Amanda's going to pin the post about the signs. Sweet.